Hey, hello. This is Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and I am coming to you today. We're going to talk about how will you balance your family life and career, and why is this so important? I saw a quote earlier this week, and it said that you don't find balance, you create balance when it comes, to creating a career and a life that is complementing each other instead of competing with each other. So it's important, because you may be focused on everything instead of the right things. You may be just trying to accomplish so much. You may be juggling all of the time and spread too thin, and that overwhelming feeling that comes along with that. So, creating that balance between your work and the rest of your life is so important. And it's not found, you don't stumble across it, you create it. But how do you do that? So that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you 2 strategies that will help you get really clear on creating a life by design, not by default, that includes your career. And then if you want to stick around, we're going to dive into them a little bit deeper. So the first strategy that I want to share with you is getting really clear on how you think about the different areas of your life. Okay, so there are 6 generally accepted areas of life. Those being, 1 is career, spirituality, relationships, health and fitness, your family, and your personal development. So your career being what you do for work, your spirituality is what you believe in, that higher source, your connection to that, whether that's the God, the collective, the universe, the oneness, whatever it is that you believe. Your relationships are those key relationships, whether they are significant other, spouse, husband, wife. Your health and fitness are things that you do to improve yourself from a health, body, and fitness standpoint. Your family, whether that is close family, extended family, you get to decide that. And your personal development is anything that you do to grow as a person. So those are the areas of life. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down all 6 areas. Again, they are career, spirituality, relationships, health and fitness, family, and personal development. Okay, so write those down on a list. And here's the first step I want you to take is I want you to prioritize that list, 1 through 6. What you deem important, not what somebody else deems important, not what should be important, but just what is coming to you at this very moment in time. What is the most important area, all the way down to what is the least important area, knowing that they're all important to you or may all be important to you. So categorize those or prioritize those 1 through 6. Just off the top of your head, listen to your gut, don't overthink it, prioritize them 1 through 6. Now, when you've done that, the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to take that same list, write it again, except I want you to prioritize it according to how you spend your time. That will give you the gaps between what is really important to you and where you're spending your time. So those are the areas that are causing problems. Those are the areas where you can create balance. So instead of focusing on all of the areas, focus on the big gaps to create more balance. So that's the first tip that I have for you. The second tip that I have for you is that ask yourself the question in each one of these areas of your life, when my fill in the blank, let's say career, is ideal, what does that mean to me? When it's ideal, exclusive of everything else, when it's ideal, what does that mean to you? And write everything that comes to mind. And don't judge it, don't change it, just get it out onto a piece of paper. And do that for every other area of life. And maybe you do this over a matter of days, but get really clear on what is ideal in each one of these areas of life. So by comparing the areas of life and where the gaps are and getting really clear on what is ideal in each one of these areas of life, because oftentimes we don't know, only then Do you have information that you can make educated decisions about how you will create balance in your life? I want you to have more information and more questions to be able to create a life that complements all of the aspects of who you are, because you're one person. You've got a personal life and a professional life, but you're one person. You may be mom and you may be a wife or a husband, but you're still you. You're still one person. So how do you make good decisions? So in addition to doing the exercise on the areas of life, take each of the areas: career, spirituality, relationships, health and fitness, family, and personal development. Number them in order of importance to you. What is the most important to you, down to the least important, knowing that they're all important. And then do the same thing with how you spend your time. And oftentimes, what I find is when I work with clients is that career comes out on top when we think of where we spend the most time. We've got bills, we've got obligations, we've got households, we've got colleges to pay for, and other things that are meaningful for us that require a financial obligation. We need to work and we need to have income. For a small percentage of the population, that isn't the deal, but for the rest of us, that is our reality. And when we have a career, we spend most of our waking hours, it used to be, away from home and in the office or doing our career. For some of you, that still may be the case, but for many of you, it may be that you're working at home. And so the lines have become even more blurred. But career takes a lot of time. And what I want you to do, though, is look at the gaps between the two lists. What are the biggest gaps? And instead of focusing on everything, I want you to focus on the one or two biggest gaps for you, and brainstorming strategies that will help you close the gap. So for instance, career and family may be a big gap. And I know for a long time in my life, it was. And even before all of this happened, career and family are still a gap. How I close the gap. So what I focused on was creating balance between career and family. So what are ways that I can specifically do that? So instead of it becomes creating balance in my life, it becomes more focused, and it's creating balance on this particular area. So that is going to have the biggest impact in my life. So for instance, when I was traveling, or even now when I wasn't able to see my family, when I got back to Pennsylvania and I had to self-isolate, what are ways that I can stay in touch with my family when I can't see them in person? So things that I came up with were Snapchat, sending texts, reaching out and calling, doing Zoom calls, having a virtual game night. Now that I'm out of self-isolation and I'm allowed to see my family, then it's having dinner, and still saying space and being respectful, but doing things intentionally, planning for them, putting time away for them, scheduling it, making it a priority, help to close that gap. Even though I'm still spending the same amount of hours on career, I'm being more intentional and I'm creating balance in that particular area. So where are the big gaps for you? And what are things that you can do to help bridge that gap in that area? So again, you're not focused on everything. You're focused on the most meaningful things for you. It might be a gap between, health and fitness and spirituality. So, are there ways that while you are being healthy and fit and you're exercising and you're doing things to move, that, maybe it involves a hike and it's forest bathing and it's just doing it in a more intentional spiritual way. So getting clarity on the areas of life and how you prioritize them and of importance, and then prioritizing them again as to how you spend your time will give you those ways. It'll give you a snapshot into what's most important to you. So focus on creating balance in those areas instead of all of the areas. So that is the first piece that I wanted to dive into. The second piece that I wanted to dive into is that when you're, again, we're going to take all the areas of life: career, spirituality, relationships, health and fitness, family, and personal development. and getting clear on what those need to look like for you. So you may be thinking, I don't have balance in these areas of life, but do you really know what you want that particular area of life to look like? So here's what I would encourage you to do. Get a journal, and maybe you do these all at once over the weekend. Maybe you do these one at a time. But at the top of a page, I want you to write, when my career is ideal, I am blank, and just let your mind go. What does it mean to you when your career is ideal? What does it look like when your career is ideal? What does it sound like, feel like when your career is ideal? What is most important to you when you experience your career? So for instance, if I use myself as an example, and I hope that this would help you, is that in career, I'll give you the example of what I used prior to all of this, is that when my career is ideal, I'm doing something meaningful. So having the ability to help people think differently about their career and their business, helping them to think differently about what may be next, opening them up to possibilities of what is next, and really helping them to think differently about their influence to achieve it. That is when my career is ideal. When I'm speaking to audiences, whether it's live or it's virtual, and I get to share that message, and maybe a switch or two flips and people think differently. That is when my career is ideal. When I have the flexibility that if something happens, I can go and take care of it with my family, to travel and meet other people. Hopefully I'll get back to that one day soon. So what are the aspects of your career when it's ideal? And start thinking about, what does that look like to you? Write it down. And going on to another area of life, maybe health and fitness. When health and fitness is ideal in your life, what does that mean to you? Well, it might mean that you're getting up every day at a certain time. It might mean that you're spending at least an hour exercising. It might mean that you've got a community of like-minded people who are supporting you and being more healthy and fit, that you don't have to do this by yourself. It might mean that you are cooking healthy meals. It might be that you're discovering juicy recipes that just taste wonderful, and you're sharing those with your family. So when health and fitness is ideal to you, what does that mean? And I want you to start thinking about this, and I want you to start listing it out. Maybe family. When your family life is ideal, what does that mean to you? What does that look like, sound like, feel like? Is it that you get together in person so often? Is it that you share a meal together? Is it that you send texts or Snapchats or videos or whatever else connecting with family? Is it that you celebrate things together? Is it that you check in on each other? Is it that you have one-on-one time with your children instead of just always family time? So when your family life is ideal, what does that mean to you? And get really clear on that. And this is exclusive to other areas. So you're taking just one area of life at a time and thinking about, when this particular area of life is ideal, what does that mean to me? Not what should it mean to me, not what it meant to your parents, not, well, while I'm working, I can't do that. No, just in a vacuum, what does it mean to you when it's ideal? And so I want you to brainstorm all of these areas of life: career, spirituality, relationships, health and fitness, family, and personal development, what you do to develop yourself personally. When they are ideal, what does that mean? And only then can you make decisions to create balance in your life. Because again, balance, you don't find balance. You don't stumble across it. It's not, a lucky, happy accident. It's something that's intentional. And it's something only you can create for you. So when you understand, by doing the areas of life exercise and knowing where the gaps are, okay, so that's the first part, and then diving deeper into the areas of your life and what they really mean when it's ideal, can you make intentional choices to equalize that gap and create balance for you, and quit focusing on everything, having every single area of your life perfect, because that will drive you to stress, to overwhelm, to anxiety. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about, because that's what happened to me. I got hit by the cosmic 2x4. So instead, dive into what it looks like for you. Make intentional choices, create balance for you. But first, you have to be educated. You have to know what that means. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you're watching this video and you've got questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, tag me. I will be sure to get back to you. If it's something you don't want to ask publicly, send me a message on Facebook Messenger, or just email me at debbie@gettingtoclarity.com. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And if you'd like a little help finding clarity in your career and creating a career that dovetails for the rest of your life and not compete with it, then give me a call or schedule some time on my calendar. I would love to have an opportunity to help you strategize on your way forward. You can go to claritywithdebbie.com. So again, that's claritywithdebbie.com, and grab some time on my calendar. So until the next time, I hope you enjoyed this Facebook Live deep dive, and join me next Thursday at 11 and every Thursday at 11 as we dive into a topic that helps you create a career and a life that you love by design, not by default. So take care, and bye-bye for now. Have a great day.